Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. We're ready for the event.
Tri-District Curriculum Consortium, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call Station for a voice check.
Station, this is Houston ACR. We are reestablishing our connection. Please stand by.
Station, this is the Tri-District Curriculum Consortium. How do you hear me?
We've got you loud and clear. Welcome aboard the International Space Station.
I'm hoping you heard those applause. My name is Seth Cohen. I'm the chairman of the NASA Downlink Committee. On behalf of Newton, Andover, and Green Hills, welcome. The excitement here is palpable, so without further ado, I'm going to turn it right over to my students.
Hi, my name is Emily Weiss from Green Hill School, and I have a question for Commander Burbank. In space, is time read the same? How do you know what time to follow?
Hi, Emily. It's good to talk with you. In space, we basically have a choice. We could pick any time zone we want all around the world, and we've actually got control is operated based on, and we've got Munich, one of the control centers, that's 1 hour from that. We've got Moscow, which is 4 hours ahead of that. We've got Tsukuba in Japan, their control center. That I think is like 9 hours ahead of Greenwich Mean Time. Houston, which is NASA's control center, I think is 6 hours behind. But by convention, we use Greenwich Mean Time. We basically have the computers and equipment synced based on the satellite navigation system, GPS, and it works just fine for us.
Thank you.
Hi there. My name is Chris Patone. I'm from Andover Regional School District, Long Pond School, and I have a question for Flight Engineer Kuipers. Do you have a safe room in case you encounter debris or space junk that could damage the ISS?
Well, Chris, actually we have, and it's called our Soyuz. If something comes very close, which is extremely rare, then we might be asked to go to our Soyuz, our spacecraft. We have 6 crew, so three crew members per Soyuz, and that can be considered as our safe haven in such an occasion.
Station, this is Houston ACR. We're reestablishing our client. Please stand by.
Station copies. Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Brianna
And this is
Murray,
International
and
Space
I'm from
Station. I think we've got you back. Go ahead.
All right. Good morning. My name is Brianna Murray, and I'm from Halstead Middle School in Newton. My question is for Commander Burbank. What was your most and least favorite moment about going into space?
Brianna, if I had to pick a moment that was my most favorite, it would probably be launch. And whether it was launching on a space shuttle, my previous 2 missions, or launching on a Soyuz, it was a great ride all the way uphill. And probably my least favorite moment, if I had to pick a moment again, would be returning to Earth after the missions. It's great being up here. The least favorite aspect in general is the time you have to spend away from family.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Jordan Babiak from Green Hills School, and my question is for Flight Engineer Andre Kuipers. What happens if you are up there and someone somehow gets extremely sick? Is there a doctor on board? I understand that you have to be very healthy to go up into space, but there is also the possibility of getting sick as well. If you get sick, can you get treated, and are there doctors or trained health professionals?
Well, that's a good question. By accident, more or less, I'm a doctor here on board, but of course I can get sick as well. So therefore, in every crew, there are at least 2 people trained to be crew medical officers. So that means that they know where all the equipment is to for example, resuscitate in an extreme case, where all the medication is. They know how everything works. So in that sense, we always have 2, say, doctors on board, be it real medical doctors or trained crew medical officers.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Alexandra Vandermoss. I'm from Andover, and this question is for Commander Burbank. Have you or will you ever participate in an EVA walk? If so, what was or is your task?
I did one spacewalk on shuttle mission STS-115, and our job during that mission in general was to install and outfit one of the large truss elements that's out on the port or left-hand side of the space station, and it includes one set of 240-foot long tip-to-tip solar arrays that help collect the sun's energy.
Good morning. This is Anthony Donatelli from Newton. My question is for Flight Engineer Kuipers. What was the moment when you knew you wanted to be an astronaut?
Well, that moment was pretty exact. That was when my grandmother gave me 3 science fiction booklets of a series, and after that, well, I was only thinking of becoming an astronaut. I was dreaming of spacesuits, rockets, and other worlds, and that's what sparked it. And later on, I saw the big IMAX movies and the beautiful pictures taken from the shuttle, and then I thought it's not only adventure, it's also beautiful. And the third thing was that I saw that it was very useful for everybody, so that was a good combination.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Andrew Costa. I'm from Green Township. Commander Burbank, how does the sun radiation affect you without the ozone layer above you? Have you ever had difficulties with solar flares in space stations? How do they affect you?
Well, the sun's radiation is kind of a mixed bag. In general, it's a very positive and helpful thing for us. So it gives us light. The entire electromagnetic spectrum, for example, if you look at it in the visible, it gives us light, and it's also light at the right frequencies that we can, with our solar rays and the electrical equipment we have here, convert it to electricity to power all the experiments on station. It gives us heat and to keep the systems warm. On the radiation side of it, in the sense of atomic nuclei, for example, if the sun is very energetic and does what we call a coronal mass ejection or a solar storm, these flares and things like that, you'll have a wave of charged particles that will strike the Earth's magnetosphere. And people on planet Earth, when we're down there, are protected largely by the Earth's magnetosphere, but also by the Earth's atmosphere, including the upper regions of the atmosphere, which protect us from ultraviolet radiation. Here on station, for example, we get most of the protection from radiation by the magnetosphere. So in general, it's not a problem. If it's a really big storm and the charged particles are directed right at station, there are things we can do. There's places on the station that are a little bit safer and better shielded than others. In general, if we're going to do a spacewalk, we plan it so that we minimize the risk for radiation. For just the ultraviolet radiation, for example, we've got some windows. Most of the windows on station protect us from the adverse effects of ultraviolet radiation, but we do have a couple that are science-grade windows that if the sun were to shine directly through those onto us, the ultraviolet exposure and
Okay, next question.
Good morning. My name is Brian Dower from Long Pond School in Andover. This question is for Flight Engineer Kuipers. What means of communication do you use most often to communicate with your families? Email, radio, or a downlink like this?
Most often I just call them. We have this internet telephone system, and that's very useful. It's like calling from the telephone network from Houston, in this case to the Netherlands in Europe, so that I can do any moment that we have contact with the satellite, which is not all the time, but for a big part of the day I could call anybody I want. And then additional to that, once a week we have a video connection, which is very nice to see them as well. And yeah, that covers all the contacts with the family. And of course, an email. Yeah, I can do that as well.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tyler D. Hope from Halstead Middle School. This is a question for Commander Burbank. What is the most remarkable thing or place you have seen from space?
I think in general, if I could answer it this way, the most remarkable place I've seen from space is planet Earth. And it is indescribably beautiful. And it's always changing. And you never get tired of it. You could be up here for half a year, and anytime you have a little bit of spare time, you want to go to the cupola, where we've got 360-degree windows to see the Earth below you, horizon to horizon for thousands of miles. Probably the most remarkable thing I've seen from space was on December 20th, and that was Comet Lovejoy. It was a sun grazer comet that came very, very close to the sun. It survived that close encounter, and it was a spectacular show when you saw it from the vantage point of low Earth orbit.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Carly Laskin from Green Hills School. I have a question for Flight Engineer Kuipers. Do you think that the space training that you have received on Earth was an adequate preparation for what it is truly like on the ISS? And if so, what type of training that you completed on Earth has best prepared you for the actual experience? If not, what would you suggest to be included in the training procedure for future reference?
Yeah, I think the training was excellent. One thing is that you train a lot on things that most likely are not going to happen, like emergencies and things breaking down, which is a good thing because everything works most of the time as planned. And you do also things that you didn't really train for. That means that you need to know how to read the procedures and where to find the equipment you need. So in that sense, I think most of the training actually I don't need, but you need it because if it happens, you have have to be ready for it. I think for improvement-wise, I like to be more trained maybe on routine ops, because, like I said, that's the routine things that you hardly train on ground, but that will happen every day because it's a routine, of course.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Ben Doherty from Halstead Middle School. This question is for Commander Burbank. Which experiment is currently giving you the most interesting results?
Well, first off, we got a lot of experiments, Ben. We have well over 100 that we're going to do during our time on board Space Station here. If I looked at it from just the physical sciences, which is a large portion of what we do, some of the things that have the experiments that have the most interesting, boy, that's funny, or aha moments are the ones related to fluid mechanics right now. And one in particular, it's called the capillary flow experiment. And that basically looks at a very fundamental level of how fluids behave in microgravity. And it has a lot of importance for fuel systems, propulsion systems, for water supply systems, for thermal control systems, anything that runs on fluids. And it turns out there's a lot of cases where the models and the way people thought fluids behaved when they're in very, very small quarters, or when they're in a narrow gap between, say, a vein and in the side of a tank, is a little bit different, and in some cases quite a bit different than what was predicted on the ground. If I look at the life sciences stuff, some of the really interesting experiments or interesting results we're getting have to do with how to keep humans healthy long-term in space. And one of those in particular, an integrated cardiovascular study, looks at, head to feet, everything that's going on in our cardiovascular system, from the heart to the blood vessels. And we do a lot of ultrasound investigations on that. A lot of it involves some of the exercises that we do. And a lot of the jury's still out on that. This is data that's being collected, but we're getting some very interesting results out of it.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Randy Struble from Green Township. This question's for Flight Engineer Kuipers. What tests are your new Robonaut 2, assigned on the space station, and what is the Canadarm currently being used for?
That's an interesting question. This is the beginning of a new era with robots really now in space on board. Of course, one of the major tasks is, for example, dangerous things, or for example, routine things that cost a lot of crew time and are not too difficult for a robot. So these things Robonaut can do perfectly. So the crew can spend their time on the more complex things that humans still have to do. So I foresee an interesting future which makes the work and life more interesting even for the humans in space.
Thank you.
This is Madison Wells from Andover. This is a question for Commander Burbank. What personal belongings is each crew member allowed to bring, and what did you bring?
You can actually bring just a small amount of things up to Space Station, and the kind of things you typically bring, the things that I brought were pictures of family and friends. There were you could bring books, you could bring a few things like that. A lot of the things that you want are kind of ways to maintain a connection to the people that you miss while you're up here. So in my case, I have just a few knickknacks or a few odds and ends. I've got some cards from my family, and I think that's probably pretty typical of what most folks will have. I have a few pieces of jewelry. I have my wife's wedding ring, for example, things like that.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, once again from Green, Andover, and Newton, we wish you a marvelous adventure and a safe trip home. Thank you.
And thank you all very much. It was great talking with you today, and these are great questions, and we wish you all the very best. And if you're interested and the future has some interest for you in the space program, we'd love to have you, because we need a lot of bright and talented minds to carry us to the next stages beyond low Earth orbit.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes the event.
Thank you, Tri-District Curriculum Consortium. Station, we are now resuming normal operations, and we have a 20-second handover.